Good evening. If you can't tell, it is that time of year again. It is fall. I've got the makeup going, the gold jewelry on, the fallest color top I could find. Anyways, today I'm going to be talking about my favorite fall palettes. I have like an odd number of them. It's like 17 or something. I tried to pare it down to make it like an even 10 or 15, but these are really the ones that I thought of that I enjoy. 4 of them are discontinued, so we're going to go ahead and start with those. The first palette that I immediately think of, if you asked me to pick out a fall palette to use, this is the one that pops into my mind. It is the Subculture by ABH. I love the color story of this palette. I don't love the formula of this palette. It is a little hard to work with. I did not get this on like the first run. Let's see. Oh, I bet I do that 100 more times. Let me grab that. The greens, the browns, everything in this is just dark and grungy. Even these yellows. I tried to use this instead of doing this look. I had a different look on with this. I didn't love it. They're hard to work with, but you can't deny that this is like fall embodied in a palette. So the ABH Subculture is one that I will definitely be reaching for and doing some looks with this fall. The second one that is actually discontinued is the BH Cosmetics Sylvia Gani palette. I've had this forever, but this, to me, the mattes in here are so good. Like the ones down here, they're just so richly pigmented that this is a beautiful palette for the fall time. It just is so pretty. Like this yellowy one. What is this? I mean, they're just so pigmented. They're just so good. Anyway, if you have this one, this is definitely one that gives me those vibes. If you do have this one, let me know. That's an old one. A newer palette that is discontinued, but I know a lot of you might have, is the Wilderness palette from Beauty Bay. This one is all the fall vibes. Like these 2 rows right here, like, now I'm looking at it, I'm like, no, I want to wear this. So I may have to wear this one tomorrow. But this like green right here, that, again, those mustardy yellows, like you're going to see this color yellow in like a lot of these palettes. But the greens, the reds, the oranges, like just everything in here. This was discontinued. They had it, it sold out completely. They brought it back. That's the time I got it. So I don't know if it'll ever be back around. But if you have this one, I want to consider pulling that one out. And the last one I'm going to talk about that you can no longer get, but you might already have, is the Naughty palette from BH Cosmetics from holiday last year? No, 2 years ago, because last year it was the white one. Last year was the white one in the middle over here. This one was the year before. And this one is a holiday palette, like a Christmassy. But this to me is a fall palette. I look at this and it's like this whole row here of like really deep saturated shades. Right here you have all these, a lot of reds, greens, browns, oranges. It just, this one I like for the fall. For Christmas, you know, for holiday season, it's okay. For the fall, I love this palette. So that is one I will probably be reaching for before too long. Those were 4 honorable mentions of ones that I will use and I love for this time of year, but I know that they're no longer available. But that's okay. We don't always have to talk about brand new stuff. And yes, I did look all these things up before so that I knew what order to put these in. This is the Nomad palette by Juvia's Place. Again, that grungy yellow, green, orange. This is a smaller palette than some of the other ones I was showing, but this just gives it to you right here. Very simply, just that grungy, not so bright pastel neon that I think of for summer. Like this is more fall. Just those like really rich saturated colors. I love this one. The shade in the middle right here is so pretty. I don't love this, that this yellow has like glitter in it. It's kind of like those ColourPop shades where that's just not my favorite format for a shadow. Like either put glitter in it or don't. But I love this one for the fall. Beautiful, beautiful palette. The Nomad by Juvia's. One from ColourPop that I think I have used, I just had to take the plastic out. I think I've used this once or twice. My ColourPop palettes, I tried to put, you can see them like down here. I tried to put them where I can see them and reach them. I just kind of forget that they're there. This is the Mandalorian palette, and here's what that looks like. I was not interested in this in the summer. Like, I was like, I need to use my ColourPop stuff, but this was not pulling me in. But for this time of year, okay, and I did not do this on purpose, but they're all having this yellow in there, so that must, you know, that must be what I was going for. These all don't have anything specific in common. It's just something when I look at them, I prefer to use them in this time. So there's this, absolutely stunning. I don't really have thoughts about this because I've used it maybe once or twice. So I really do want to pull this one out. It is just really cool. I think it's a really neat cool toned color story, and I don't have a lot of that, especially for fall stuff. It's more warm, you know, burgundies, yellows, oranges, but yeah, this has some nice like gray cool tone colors. So I'm excited to use that one, and it doesn't hurt. The packaging is adorable. This next one I partially have on my eyes today, and it is the Sigma. I might as well take this brush out before I dump it on the floor. We'll just nip that in the bud. Okay, I have the Sigma Untamed palette, and there is what that looks like. Again, not one I've used a ton. This whole middle section right here, like you got some purples and blues and stuff on the ends, but this section right here, like, again with that yellow, do they all have that? They don't. The next one I'm going to talk about does not. Okay, just these top ones do. So this is one I hadn't reached for a lot this summer, but I will definitely be reaching for this. I do have the shade Hustle partially on, it's over another color, but the shade right here is actually on my lid right now. So, and I have the black one in the corner, in the outer corner. So I already am reaching into this. I already am enjoying it. So look forward to seeing some more of the Sigma Untamed. And since we're talking about it, the other half of what's on my eye is the Sigma Warm Neutrals palette. And here's what that one looks like. I have on like these reds and burgundies here. This is the other shade on my lid, the Bittersweet shade. So this, while it says Warm Neutrals, this gave me a very dramatic look, and that's always what I look for, even in a neutral palette. I want it to show up, I want it to be vibrant, and that's what this did. It's not a wow, out of their color story, but the colors that are in it are very pretty, very saturated. So looking forward to that one for this fall. I'm gonna go with this one before it flips out of here. This is actually a palette from Profusion, and this is the Meadow Palette. And there's that. Of course, the obligatory yellow. But like this shade right here is kind of cool, like a green to browny red color. Again, this has those like glitter mattes, but doesn't translate on the eye really. This is like $5 and change at Walmart. So this is definitely the more affordable way if you're looking for a new palette. If you're looking for a new palette with these kind of colors. It only has 2 shimmers, and that one and then this one down here. And this one's like a little chunky feeling. There it is, but it's shiny, it's pretty, it'll work. The Meadow palette from Profusion. Another ColourPop pick is my Whatever palette. I will tell you right now, I don't think I've used this ever since I had it. But looking at photos and like advertisements and getting in the mindset for like fall, this kind of look is what I'm going for. This is the kind of look that I'm like, I want the burgundies this year. I normally go more green, yellow kind of moment, but the burgundies and the reds are what are kind of calling to me this year. So I think I might finally use this. This one is a pressed glitter, some really pretty, that one's a Super Shock shade, but I might finally actually dip into this. And this is still available on their website. So I was kind of surprised by that. I feel like it's an older palette, but it must be one that does well for them. So there is that. Whatever by ColourPop. Another palette that still has its plastic is the Glamlite Taco Viva Taco palette. It looks like this. Now this one's definitely more on the bright side of the color story I like for fall, but I wanted to have some variety in here. And it has the greens and oranges and some browns, but it has those kind of pops of purple that I didn't have in all the rest of them. But I don't reach for this a lot in the summer because I think of this as more of a fall color story. So I'm excited to use this. And since I picked this up, it was one of my first Glamlite palettes, and I've also gotten a lot more since then, and I've fallen in love with the formula. So this is one that's kind of at the top of the list that I want to be using for this month. Another drugstore from Flower Beauty is the Flower Jungle Lights palette. This is an all shimmer palette, but this is so good. Like, if you need a shimmer to go over something, these are just stunning. I don't wear this purple one a lot. It's a little dark for the lid for me. Like I would normally do a shimmer. Any of the rest of these, absolutely incredibly beautiful. Let me swatch that gold one. I mean, they're just so like creamy feeling. This is a good one. If you just like shimmers, it is a little pricey for the drugstore. I think it's like $17 just for this. And it is only 6 shades, but they, you know, you just need one little like swipe and you got like your whole lid covered. So it is a really good palette. I also have the Desert Lights one, which would also be, you know, a pretty good fall palette. But this one definitely for me is the one that's given me the feels. This next one is one I tend to forget about because it is so tiny. It is this Vizier palette. It is the Petite Pro. Is this little palette right here. And at first glance, it's kind of springy, but with this whole section here, which is what I use like in the crease and stuff, you know, all the mattes to kind of set everything up, I'm like, I haven't used this a ton. It is very, very tiny. You can tell, like in comparison to even my ColourPop palettes, which are small, like how tiny it is compared to those. It kind of gets shoved to the side. So it is one that I want to make a point to use because it is very nice. It is very pretty, but it is almost a little bit neutral. Again, has those little pops of purple in it though, which aren't necessarily fall colors, but as a whole, I'm excited to reach for this palette. I like don't know what to say when I'm done talking about it. Can you tell? Like, turn into Vanna White. Okay. ColourPop, you just saw me hold this one up. The Star Wars Mandalorian palette. The Child. Yeah, the Child version. Cutest in the Galaxy, it says. This is, again, one that does not get enough love in my collection. So beautiful though. I mean, they're so reflective. Look, you can't even see them. I want to use this one. I have used it a couple times. ColourPop is definitely something that goes unused in my collection for some reason. But the ColourPop things go unused. They kind of get forgotten. And I don't know why that is. I don't dislike them. I always like the looks when I use it, but it's just something that kind of gets pushed to the side. So we're going to have to bring little baby Yoda to the front. I have 3 more palettes to mention. And these are all bigger palettes. I have the Nubian 2 by Juvia's Place. Now, this for me, I had like a go-to look for this. I always put this in the crease, this in the outer corner, and this on the lid. The orange, purple, and green. I love those shades out of here. They're humongous. I love this palette. It's very good. Like, this is just warm and toasty. I don't use this any time of the year besides right now. And then I will reach for it as kind of like that, well, I don't know, I want something easy because I know that this is good and this works for me, and I know, you know, whatever look I do with it is going to be pretty. So there's that one. Now, this next one is the Zodiac Palette from ABH Cosmetics. They do still sell this on their website. I looked, just $25. And I know that there's a lot going on with BH. I talked about it in another video. But They've come out with their 4pan palettes. I will not be buying those. They don't look interesting. I've not heard good things about them. Well, mediocre things, really hit or miss things. So I'm on the lookout for when they, you know, if they come out with more. I am interested. I'm very interested with what they come out with. And I was going to pick the new ones to review, and I saw they were quads, and I was like, ooh, I'm not a huge fan of quads. I know a lot of people love them. A lot of people love them. I am not one of those people. And so I kind of hesitated then, and then people started putting their reviews up, and I was like, well, let me check these out. And it was hit or miss, and I was like, okay, no, I don't need a stack of quads that I may or may not like, may or may not use. So if they come out with more things, I am on the lookout. I am checking out for them, but I'm not interested in what they have out at the moment. But this is still for sale. It is the Zodiac original palette, so excuse the grody-ness. I've had this forever. I love this. I have pan. Look at that. I actually have pan. Did I have pan in two of them? I thought I had pan in like this brown one as well. I have pan in this one. This almost does. It's very, very, very worn down. These are all worn down. These, I love this palette, and this is the time of year for me. I know it's a little much for the eyes with all the reflective little pieces and the highlighter in the middle. I know it's a little much to take in and kind of get the color story because there's like a lot of stuff happening here, but there's a lot of beautiful mattes up here, like this whole top half. Like if you ignore everything down here, the whole top half, fall. So this is one I'm definitely wanting to pull back out and use. I haven't touched it in a minute, but here's the Aquarius shade. There's that. Like, look how pretty that is. Oh, so gorgeous. So gorgeous. So this is one that has been well loved, well used, and will continue to be. I couldn't believe they still sell this. I was shocked. That's why I'm mentioning that, because I was shocked. And last but not least, one that I've only used one time. I will say that right now. I've only used it once. It is the Michaela palette from Glamlite. But this just looks so good. Like, all the little beads. Let me hold it upside down so they'll run to the top. Okay. This whole row right here, even like these, like some grungier shimmers as well. I really liked that about this. And that just gives me, like these especially, that just rich outer corner. Oh, I'm looking forward to using this one some more. Like I said, only used it one time. I do have a look up with that. But I'm excited for this one. This looks like a beautiful fall palette to me. And I am excited for that. Plus the packaging. I love this. I know some people don't like it. I don't mind it. I think it's cute. So there you have it. My top like 17 palettes for the fall that I'm really excited to pull back out of my collection and use. 4 of them, like I said, are discontinued. And the BH one, I can't believe they still sell. I do have the Sigma ones on my eyes. They turned out really beautifully. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm in the mood. I'm getting ready to, you know, get all this makeup out, the lipsticks, all of the things. So those are just some things you can look forward to on my channel pretty soon. I think I'll have to do, you know, a look with every one of those. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you'll consider subscribing, and I will see you next time. Bye.